What's one thing in your life you feel a need to accomplish? Not for anyone else, but just for you. Mine is to do at least one century ride every year. I've had some injuries and setbacks telling me that I wouldn't be able to do that this year. What I'd like you to do as I tell you my 2021 century ride experience and how I finished is to think about that one thing you'd like to accomplish. It could be on your bike or anything else in life, really. Just think about it while watching this video. I plan a lot of long rides every year, but one I like the best is from our home in Madison, Wisconsin to Galena, Illinois. Why Galena over any random century ride destination? For the same reason we all choose our cycling destinations, because it's there. Sure, Galena is a great place to end a long ride. It has everything of a post-ride importance to us as riders. Coffee and beer. What? That's what's important, right? Even though Galena has these two necessities, for me, it's about the experience along the way. I have a feeling since you're watching this video, you feel the same way about adventure. It's about the journey, not the destination. But as the title of this video states, a century ride is hard. As I mentioned earlier, I had some injuries and distractions that have prevented me from riding as much as I wanted to this year. That was on my mind for weeks leading up to this ride. So even before I started riding, I hindered my ride with my mental state. Kate and I started out with some technical issues. I really like to blame the old Garmin 820 I was using, but I'll have a vulnerable moment here and say I screwed up the upload to the device.
How are you feeling about the start of the century ride?
A little delayed.
What happened?
You getting a good shot of my butt or something?
Yeah, that's your best side.
Well, the technology doesn't always cooperate.
So this is Century Ride 2021 2.0.
There might be a lot of versions. After getting that sorted out, we were on the road. Despite the cheeriness of this footage, the sun rising, the birds chirping, and that goofy grin on my face, I'm actually really nervous about being able to finish. A few glitches along the way, but now we're rolling smoothly. I tell you guys, I'm really nervous about this one. I haven't been riding as much because of COVID and not commuting to work. I'm working from home. It's gonna be a challenge. We'll see if I'll get through. Typically in years past, I've done this route by myself, so it's nice to be riding with somebody else. Despite this, I knew I chose a great route. It was a great mix between pavement and gravel. After leaving Madison on one of the best paved bike paths in the city, we had the beauty of the sunrise shining on the farm fields and on our backs as we pedaled away from our home. But the more I pedaled, the more nervous I got about my ability to finish the ride. It's 100 miles after all. I don't look like I'm gonna live past this ride right now.
I bet this ride adds 2 years to your life.
I gotta make it through this ride to be able to add it 2 years to my life. At mile 10, my front derailleur cable slipped, and I was stuck in the small chainring. This mechanical didn't reduce my nervousness and surely didn't help my mental state about the ride. My front derailleur, I need to do an adjustment because right now it's loose. I need to tighten that up. I think we should just curl up inside that teepee there and just fall asleep and pretend we cycled 100 miles. That sound good?
Yeah.
While I'm joking here about curling up in the teepee and pretending we rode, I'm actually secretly wishing Kate would turn my joke into a moment of serious reflection and say, yeah, we're not going to accomplish what we want today, so let's head back. But she didn't, and we pedaled on. At 20 miles in, we stopped to check over my bike, apply sunscreen, and to have a bit of breakfast. I often debate whether stopping and eating a big breakfast is good, or if it's just better to eat along the way. This isn't a race after all, we're competing this for ourselves. I was feeling sluggish after a big meal. See, I was the smart one because I ate the sauerkraut. Propel me all the way to Galena.
Well, I'm riding in front of you.
You're the smart one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really showing how I'm struggling with my confidence during this ride in this video. You mostly can see it on my face when I forget that I'm on camera. It seems absurd, but this moment of humor with Kate either helped me forget about how much I'm struggling or lifted my spirits enough so that I could push through the first challenging part of the ride. So we've been bouncing on and off of the Military Ridge State Trail for most of this ride, and it's been relatively flat. But now we're gonna stray from the Military Ridge and really bear down on some hills. The rest of the ride's gonna be super challenging. Here we go, time to bear down. Our longest ride this year so far has been 62.3 miles.
We just hit 62.8 climbing this hill. This was 6%, now it's 4%. It's getting easier. For as little as I've ridden this year, under 500 miles for the year so far, and I'm doing 100 miles today. It's a bit crazy, but I thought this video was gonna be about me struggling, but I mean, it's only 63 miles so far. We've got a long way to go yet, but it's not that type of ride at all. I'm doing pretty good here.
Yep, you heard that right. For the first time, I admit I was struggling early in the ride, and I thought that this video would be about my riding struggles. It's funny how you're more willing to admit how you're feeling when you're no longer struggling as much. Like I said though, this is only mile 63, and there is still a long way to go. At the beginning of this video, I asked you while watching to think about that one thing that you want to accomplish. Let me know in the comments below what that one thing is, and I'll come back to it at the end of this video. At mile 85, I felt completely different from mile 15 when I had that mechanical. That's when my mental state was not putting me in a good position to complete a challenging ride like a century.
We're at mile 86 right now. I can't believe how ridiculously energetic I feel. 17 miles to go, and I'm gonna make these 17 miles my best this year so far.
After mile 85, my confidence was up. I was in a riding zone, and you can really see it when I took a break 7 miles before we reached our century ride goal.
We are at mile 93. 10 miles to go for this ride and less than 7 to go for a century ride.
We finally crossed over the 100-mile mark going fast down a hill. Here I'm screaming with elation for reaching 100 miles while riding fast down one of the best hills just outside of Galena.
We hit 100 going down that hill. We couldn't stop, but did you hear me screaming?
I heard you and I was like, what's going on? I didn't know.
I was cheering.
So what was that one thing that you want to accomplish that you were thinking about while watching this video? I hope my experience here shows that no matter what doubts you might have before or even during, that you could still accomplish it. Don't get discouraged. My experience here shows how you can really overcome your doubts in something as challenging as your mental state, telling you that you cannot do something that you truly want to accomplish. So what was it? What helped me have one of the best century rides I've ever had, despite how I felt mentally and physically during the first half of the ride? Two really good reasons are the bike I was using, and more importantly, my riding companion. Check this video out if you want a deeper dive into those two things.